Let's try this out. Okay. All right. I think now I am online. Okay, that's great. So, hello, everyone. Well, actually, it's just only me for the time right now. Yeah, right now is 7 p.m. Here in Berlin. Well, I don't know if anyone will join this kind of stream, but yeah, let's try it out. So I don't know if anyone will actually watch this kind of streaming content, but yeah, let's do some introductions. My name is Daniel. I'm a developer here working at CIVE at this time. And yeah, basically I decided to start doing streaming sessions on my side projects. So there's one side project that I want to build, and actually I thought it could be like an opportunity to actually stream out how I would approach to build this kind of project. And I thought it could be interesting to at least like make a movie or recording in any ways. Maybe it can help someone, or maybe I enjoy doing this, or maybe there are actual people interested in watching this kind of content. So this is supposed to be like a very real kind of experience, no much like cutouts. So people will probably watch out me struggling by doing stuff. And yeah, I'm sorry if I hope the music and all the configuration is fine, but because this is actually my first time, probably you are gonna hear my computer, probably you're gonna hear my mouse and my keystrokes, but I will probably invest in better equipment later. So, well, without much further ado, because I don't know if anyone will gonna join me here, I will at least give like some sort of overview on the project, and I will just get this kind of overview. I will probably just redo the overview if someone enters and wants some sort of explanation. And yeah, that's that. So for now it's only me, and I will literally just talk with myself, just like I'm used to doing my own projects. Okay, so what I want to build here. So I just like sketched before the stream just a overview on what I'm gonna build here. So this is actually a feature request application. So this application consists like how that actually works. So what I'm calling here is we have a person can have like spaces. So you can, I'm imagining that you can register in this kind of service, and then you will be able to manage multiple spaces. It can be like your own product, it can be your company. I don't really have many ideas for like the amount of how this can expand, but I just want to build something very simpler, a very lean initial solution. So basically what I want to do is I want to create this kind of product. So you will register in this kind of service, and then you can create your own space for your product, right? So then you have here your product. You will have like maybe a very slim login, and then you can just log out. And yeah, you will probably be able to search, but I don't know if I will just like implement search features right now. But yeah, you can probably search things, and then um, anyone who enters in your product page can submit a request, a feature request. So basically, you will be able to see the like community feature requests that people are actually requesting that for you. So it will be like some sort of list or card or something like that. And then you will see like a title or like a simpler description on what this feature is, what is the current status. I still don't know what they actually represent, if like maybe because all feature requests are not entirely like approved, so people can just publish them, and then you can look at those feature requests and approve or not. You can probably see comments. I don't know if I will already implement a comment system, but maybe start even smaller. And then we have like a voting system. So basically, people will be able to come here and, oh yeah, I would love to have this kind of feature in this product that I use, so I will upvote this. And then you, as the owner of this kind of this board, of this like space, you will be able to see that and approve and build and interact with your community. So when you or someone clicks here in a feature request, then you can see the item details. Then we have like a breadcrumb here to navigate back. And then you see all the details for this feature request. So you'll see the title, the status, how many comments do we have, how many people actually like this, right? So if like this number is just like a mocking number, but yeah, you will see who voted in there, because people must have an account here in order to vote and submit a feature request, and how long this feature request is rolling. Then you can see, maybe, I don't know if I will just create like a rich text editor, or if I will just add markdown, probably something like a rich text editor, because it's friendlier to people. But yeah, I will add this here, and then you can probably comment out and see other people's comment. And this is even like excluding administrator tools here, because you, as the owner of this space, you should be able maybe to recheck that, or maybe delete this. You should have like some sort of comments to actually change this. And you, as the creator of the feature request, you should also be able to edit. But I didn't add this kind of detail here in this drawing. I just wanted to do something simpler. And then we have the actual administrator panel. So once you log in, so you can enter in the application, and probably we'll have like an URL to a specific space that maybe we have like some sort of slug that people will just enter and see directly this view. But I also want to enable people to actually create their own spaces. I also don't know if I will want some sort of like permission role based kind of application. For now, I'm just thinking on having something straightforward and just have like one entity user, and like everyone can create spaces, and everyone can just if they know the slug, they can access other people's spaces. And I want to deal with permissions later, because this is a lot more complex when we start piling up things, right? So basically, this will be like the admin panel. So you can see your spaces. You can create a new space. You can you can see details. You can edit. You can exclude this space. And once you click and create or even edit, because again, I'm not interested right now in dealing with permissions and roles and more complex controls. I'm imagining that we will just have to deal with the name of the space, and that's that. So you will have this form. You can fill out the name and save. The edit will just be the same kind of form. We will probably just reuse it, and the big thing will happen once you click and show. So when you click and show, you will be redirected to this page. And I didn't add it here in this example, but we will probably just add administrator utilities here, right? So new or extra comments. I didn't draw this here because what I want to do today is just set up the project. I want to explain a bit the technologies that I choose to use, that they are all here, and I maybe just start doing something simple, okay? I didn't mention earlier, but I plan to create like some sort of schedule and maybe keep this kind of stream presentations regular, maybe on Thursdays or maybe at least like once a week. So let's see how this goes, right? So what are the technologies that I choose to use? So here I'm gonna use Next.js. I'm using Next.js because I like Next.js. I usually will, at least for this kind of application, I would use something like Laravel or some other solution like this. But like React is very popular. Next.js has a new version that have like some sort of new functionalities that are pretty cool, and they have a very interesting ecosystem that for a lot of like things that we have to manually configure, you don't have to do that here because we have powerful extensions like Auth that will help us deal with authentication. Plus they also have integration with like providers like Prisma, and this is why I will use Next, because it's popular. And I also want to create a project using this kind of technology to show off and experiment a bit, because I'm not super familiar with the newer versions, and I want to explore a bit more this kind of tool, right? So alongside Next, I want to maybe keep like the amount of dependencies in a minimum here, but at least a few dependencies I want to use. I want to use Nextauth because of the reasons that I already mentioned. So Nextauth is pretty straightforward to use. We have like it's not provider, sorry. We have like adapters to use with Prisma that I didn't open here, but I want to use Prisma as well to help us manage our data, right? As a ORM. So I will use Nextauth, Prisma. Then we will use React Query for helping us fetch and sync up our data. I want to use React Query here because it's not a library that I'm super familiar. I usually use plain fetch and sometimes SWR. But React Query seems very interesting. I already use for some other toy projects, but they help us deal with a lot of tricky problems in front-end world. So I don't have to worry about race conditions. They already do all the revalidation of the data, so they have like a very easy caching system, and they have mutations capabilities, right? So we can write up mutations, and we can actually ask for to revalidate our data after maybe we save a space or save some registry. So it feels very interesting, and I will try this out here. This one I literally never used. So this is React Hook Form. I'm using most, I want to use this most specifically because the maintainer of React Query wrote this blog post, React Query and Forms, and he has some examples using exactly React Hook Form. And I just want to experiment how this goes. Forms in frontend usually are very tricky to deal. Doing all of this client-side validation and creating the inputs is very far away from like how forms should be used when we are like using some sort of tooling like Laravel, or we are writing plain forms that we are just like posting the form data and handling the form in the server. And we have like proper layers that we can actually deal with validation and interact with our forms. But then I just want to see how this goes with React hook form. It feels straightforward and easy. So let's see how this goes. And I have this blog post that kind of might help me out interact better with forms. I'm looking after a nicer solution for handling forms in front end, at least in applications using React. Finally, I want to use Chakra as my my component library. I don't want to build everything from scratch here. I could use plain CSS, I could use Tailwind, I could use other kind of solutions, but I like Chakra. They are accessible, they have all the components that I possibly need here, and they are very straightforward. I like the usability, I like the experience on using Chakra. Plus they have a lot of content that I can consume. There are other like websites where I can find already done templates in Chakra. So I'm not a designer. I can try to come up with my screens, but yeah, I will use Chakra, especially for handling more complex components, because here we have where it is. Here we have things like a grid. We already have our button with loading states, so we can provide icons. We can provide loading states with the button. So we have all kind of form controls that I can possibly need. They have alerts, they have toasters, they have skeletons to help us with loading, with like a more smooth loading experience. So yeah, they have pretty much everything that I can possibly want, and I will use this. For deployment, I want to deploy this application since I'm gonna build it with Next. I want to build and deploy it in Vercel because it's super straightforward, right? So it's easy. It's easy enough because of the integration. So I will deploy with Vercel. Plus, I'm gonna choose here to use MySQL as the database because of PlanetScale. So PlanetScale is a very cool service. This is a serverless database platform, and they provide MySQL databases for free. So I don't want to publish or create like a Heroku Heroku Postgres. I don't want to pay for a database. I could also use SQLite, but yeah, I wouldn't probably be able to using Vercel. I don't know how that would work. So I will use PlanetScale because it's a very cool service and it's free. So I will use MySQL here without much pain. I just used once, so let's see how this goes. They are a very cool service. So, well, without much further ado, this is just like an overview on the project and the tooling that I choose to use. Oh yeah, and there is one last tool that I want to use, and I will probably experiment a bit more the integration that they have with Prisma. But there is this tool that I want to use that is Zod.js. So, oh, it's not Zod.js, it's just Zod. Let's see where it is. There we go. So Zod is a schema validation with static type inference. So this is a library that we can use to define our types to be validated at runtime and extract those types to help us with typing, right? At compile time. So this is a very cool library. I know that they have like integrations with Prisma, so probably we will just like try them out later in the project. If you want to know a bit more about this kind of library, I wrote an article in Medium regarding that. So feel free to access this. I think it's not part 3, but it's part 1. I should continue doing that because it's I still have a few parts to go. So yeah, feel free to check this out, this article. I will probably just add this link to the description of the video later. So let's see, go keep, and I will just add this to the notes. Okay, so basically that's it with the presentation, and now I just want to start. So let's see how this goes, right? Maybe it could be an interesting experience, and it could be fun just to see me struggle here. Okay, so let's try here until around like 8:20 or something like that, and let's build our product. So to start, I'm gonna create a new Next application, and yeah, I don't remember a lot of, I remember nothing by heart, so I will just install here. I will use pnpm here. I'm just gonna check if we have some update. I hope the code is big enough. So all right, I will basically create a new Next application using pnpm. I like pnpm a bit better than npm, by the way that they solve dependencies. I'm also working with monorepos, so npm, at least in the newer versions that they have workspaces, is a bit better, but I like pnpm better, and is faster, at least in my perception here. Okay, so let's create a new Next application. I still don't know how what I'm gonna call this application, so for now I will just call this feature request app. So this is the feature request app, maybe. Okay, and is installing everything for me. I'm gonna use TypeScript as well here, and okay, that's great. So I can just open my feature request app. I will open the Visual Studio Code. I have to move Visual Studio Code here, and let's see. I didn't memorize all the commands here for this Linux application, but okay, yeah, great. We have our Next application here. I will just pnpm dev, and basically we are good to go. Localhost 3000, and oh yeah, sorry, this is from old projects. I don't know why this is happening. Let's see. I'm struggling a bit here. So what the hell is happening here? Feature request app. Am I in the right one? Yes. Here, localhost 3000. This should be the one. I don't know why I'm being redirected to this admin. Maybe I should just try to open up Anonymous page. Yeah, maybe it was some caching from a previous project, but yeah, it's here. It's here. Let me see if I can just maybe clear up the cache, empty the cache, and reload the page, because something is fishy here. Okay, yeah, maybe it's a caching thing. Okay, so we have our Next application, and then we can start installing our dependencies. We have quite a few dependencies here to just add up. Well, we should start. First of all, I will maybe add Next Auth here. Yeah, let's see their documentation on how we can actually install this. So they should see, they should have like where it is, probably the getting starter, where it is. I think it's just Next Auth. Maybe this is enough. Huh. Where is the introductory documentation to install? Maybe they are here in the Next Auth package. Yeah, it's just Next Auth. Okay, let's start here. So pnpm install, and we will add Next Auth. We will also need to install Prisma, because we will use Prisma. And Prisma, we have more things to install. There are server-side things to install, and there are client-side things to install. I think here in the next auth documentation, they even have like everything that I need. I think it's here. So we will have to install the Prisma client and the next auth Prisma adapter. And then we will have to install Prisma as a dev dependency because this will be running in the server. So I will paste it here for now. We have more things to install. Maybe we can just like tackle on everything in one batch. I will want to install React Query as well. Okay, great. Yeah, I will want React Hook Form. Yeah, a lot of dependencies, but I hope it's just them and nothing much more. In Chakra, they have like a specific installation for Next. Here we won't be using React 18 because those component libraries, they still don't have support for React 18. So for now we will be using the 17th version. And I will also use Zod. Later on, probably we will want to install one extra dependency because in Zod ecosystem, as I mentioned, they have integration with Prisma, but I don't really know how this library, like this integration works, and we can work it out later. So those are all the dependencies that I want to install. Let's wait for the package manager to do its magic. And there is just like this Prisma dependency that I want to download as well. So there is also a few other things that I would love to install. So I mean, oh, nope, is Prisma installing as a dev dependency. All right. And there are other things that I actually want to install that are just to help us out later. And this is just because I know about them. So there are Next Connect that they will actually help us out with when we are handling with server side part of Next, when we are handling with our API requests. So it will provide us a nice way to handle our requests in our API. So I will also install this here, pnpm Next Connect. Oh, pnpm install Next Connect. And oh, I think I mentioned something wrong here. So just to correct myself, this Prisma save tab here is just the Prisma CLI. We will use it to generate our Prisma schemas and etc. So yeah, this is nothing to do with our server side stuff. There are peer dependencies that should be installed. I think I should install that, maybe. pnpm install. I don't have a clue if I have to do this, but let's install to fulfill this. Oh yeah, there is a lot of like peer dependencies problems, but okay, this is not a problem. Probably it's because we are using React 18, so maybe this will be a problem later, but we will be solving this later, because I think Next.js by default is coming with React 18, but yeah, we will see this later. So there is Next Connect, and there is also one, I think there's one last dependency that I want to bring it here, or maybe two. I want to do pnpm install Pino and fbts. So I think those are all the dependencies that I will want in this project. I know that is a lot, but Pino is just to help us out with logging, so it will print out JSON data and things in a nicer way than console log. And yeah, it will be better to just use Pino as our login system instead of just console logging things that, yeah, can lead us to problems. And FBTS, you can imagine this just like as a Lodash or Lambda variation. So FBTS will just help us out with our utility functions, and FBTS is a functional library, so I prefer to use FBTS over Lambda or Lodash. And yeah, for now maybe that's all. I don't know if we will have to, probably we will have to deal with dates later, but maybe this is already enough for this side. One other thing that maybe we can also do is that is like a bit of like a boring kind of process. We have to, I want to actually use Prettier here, so I will want to download Prettier as well. So yeah, so pnpm install -d Prettier, and I think there is some other kind of configuration that I have to maybe do for ESLint. So so I think there is something like here that I have to do. So we have the core web vitals, and there is Prettier, and I think it's, I don't remember very well, but it's ESLint Prettier. This is like the configuration part that is always like a bit confusing, but yeah, I think it's this one. So ESLint plugin Prettier. So I will also want to download ESLint plugin Prettier as well. So pnpm install -d this. So now I think because of that we will be able to actually work with Prettier in our environment. That's that, I think. And yeah, maybe that's that. Okay. Well, let's see. Well, I receive a comment from someone. I'm not seeing anyone here, so, but I think someone came here. Well, not seeing any kind of participants, but okay. So apparently I have like participants in this call, but I'm not seeing anything. But yeah, I will just continue then. Okay, so a lot of dependencies. This is part of JavaScript, I think, and is a lot confusing to actually make this. But I just downloaded Prettier. I have the Prettier and ESLint extension in my editor, so things are like already here. And because I have the ESLint Prettier extension, and I added this here to my ESLint configuration, linting should work, I think. So yeah, we can just continue then. One last thing that I actually want to do, and I want to do this before even start actually developing the application. Let's first commit out things, right? So I added all the dependencies. So add base project dependencies. Okay, a lot of dependencies. So we have all Chakra needed stuff, all next auth dependencies plus the Prisma adapter for next auth. We have the utility library that we will gonna use. Framer motion is being used by Chakra to animate. We have next connect to help us out interface with the API. We don't actually need it. Pinio will also serve us as a logger system. We will use Pinio to log things. We have our form and our React query that will help us deal with formular data, and React query will help us out fetching things. We have Zod that is that will help us out validate our types at runtime. And we have the like this was to fulfill the peer dependencies, and we have the Prettier to help us with code formatting, and Prisma CLI to help us build out our database. Okay, before I will first commit here. All right, and basically what I want to do is I want to create like a Docker compose file. I know that it's not very usual to do that, and because I'm using Prisma, I could just use SQLite, but I want to create already a MySQL database just to make sure that things will work out fine. I never remember how to create a freaking Docker file, but we can search out together and see how this goes. Yeah, this is actually what I forgot to do. So let's create this file now. Well, now let's create our Docker compose.yaml file. We will add the version 3.9. I always forget what kind of version this is. So we have our services, and basically we want to add a MySQL database here. So I will just call this db MySQL. MySQL, so that's that. As I remember, Docker hub MySQL. As I remember, I had problems with my I had like, here I'm not programming in a Mac, but I use Mac in my daily basis, and I remember that I was facing some problems with the base version of MySQL, at least like the image, and I think I had to use this kind of Oracle version to make sure that it's working in MacBooks. So since I don't know if I'm gonna be streaming in the Mac later, if I manage to make everything work, I will just add the Oracle version. So image MySQL Oracle. So I want to restart that always. I think that's even like here. It's because I had to configure this recently. So we have to restart always, and that's that. And then we have the environment variables that we need for making MySQL work, right? So MySQL root password. So we want to call this secret, and then yeah, we don't need this, right? So the MySQL root password is secret. The MySQL password is also secret, and then we have our MySQL database. So this will be Prisma, because we are gonna run in Prisma. Then I will also want to make sure that the volumes are properly in place. So the volumes here, I want then in the MySQL will be mapping out to /var/lib/MySQL. I just know this because I had to do this recently, right? So I'm not bringing this like those values magically, because I wouldn't remember. I want to actually be able to access MySQL here through my my extension in VS Code. So I want just to create to map out the default port from MySQL to the same port in my machine. And I also want to create a network that is called MySQL. Then, because we specify a volume and a network, I have a friend who's called Tiago. Sergio, please let me know if this is if I'm saying something silly. So networks. So this is gonna be MySQL. Oh shit. Here we go. MySQL, and then driver bridge. So I think that was what I needed to do. Okay, we have the secrets. Okay, this is fine. And then I just had to specify the volumes, and then MySQL, and I don't have to specify anything. It's just to make sure that the volume is there. I don't know if my document is properly formatted. Oh shoot, let's use Prettier. Okay, great. So this means that our Docker Compose file should be done. Yeah, let's see if, before I even say something, let's see if this will work. MySQL. Okay, I think this is fine. So let's do Docker Compose. I already have it installed. So let's build Docker Compose up. I think it's that, right? Yeah. All right. I like to keep my Docker Compose running. I don't like to detach it. So. Okay, it seems that we have MySQL here. So init process done, ready for startup. Great. So this means that if I come here and try to connect in my database, I think I already have the local host connection. So for root, password secret, port 3 306. This is just for like if anyone has curiosity to know. This is an extension of VS Code and is called MySQL. So I have a way to connect to databases here, and I'm just connecting here to my. Let's see if this will work. So it's connected successfully here. So yay, there we go. We have it here. For now, we don't have anything because we didn't create any database or anything else, but we have MySQL here, and yeah, this is already something. So let's commit this. So let's see, create Docker compose file with MySQL database. Okay, this is cool, right? I know that this is like front end, but like at least we should like developers focus in front end. We should at least know a bit on Docker on Docker. It makes life so much easier. So yeah, before we even start actually doing more or any other kind of code, I will just create a repository for this one. So feature request app public. I will provide like a description later, and I will just copy this command line here. I will open up a new tab. I hope my terminal don't break out. I don't know why it's breaking out on Linux, but our code is there, and with the magic of Vercel, we can even open up the dashboard and create a new project. We can import our feature request app. For now, we don't need any kind of environment variable because the application is just dummy, but we can already deploy. So this is cool, right? And it should be straightforward, I think. It's almost 8 and we just like are setting up our the repository here, but yeah. Okay, so let's just wait a bit. It's building. Yeah, while it's building, we can just continue here. Okay, so the next thing that I actually want to do is I want just to make sure that we have Prisma properly set up, because this is like the database base and I want to actually model my entries here before I even start doing any kind of screen related stuff. So we have to actually build up, initialize Prisma, model up our data, and then we can finally reach out the place where we should start doing stuff, right? So to begin, I will execute p and px. For anyone who don't know about this one, this is the same thing as npx. So basically this will execute any kind of binary. So it will try to look up, if I try to type in npx or pnpx, it will try to look up for node modules in bin. So we have those binaries for those specific dependencies that we have downloaded. So if those, it will try to look up for this folder to see if the command that you're running is there. If it doesn't find, it will download it and execute it for you. So in this case here, I want to execute Prisma, and Prisma exists here, so we can just use it. And then I will use Prisma. I think it's init. Yeah. And then we initialize our database. And this is the first thing. So we have the database URL in our environment variable. So this is pretty crucial. Let's use environment variables in our project. So it already set up for us this kind of base URL. I like to actually add .env.sample, because then we know which kind of variables we have in our environment, because .env files should not be committed. And let's see if they are. Yeah, all .env are, I will explicitly add .env because I think you should have .local here. So any .env file should not be committed because it contains sensitive data, and yeah, you should not commit them. Okay, so I will remove this, and I will just because like the database that we configured here is within Docker Compose. It's not like a problem to add this kind of URL here. It might even help you out if you want to download the project and just quickly spin up in a local environment. So I will just add the URL for this database. So this is MySQL, because this is the network that we added. And usually, like when we want to connect through a database URL, it is with the username that we provided, that is root, the password that is secret, and then the hosting environment. So is localhost here, and the port of MySQL, and the database is Prisma. So this is it. Because this is the database URL, I know that I think there is like, where it is, I have to find this. We have the database URL here, and I know that within next auth we have to provide some environment variables, and I just know about them because I have to deal with them. But we have some environment variables that we have to provide. That is the next auth URL or something like that. Let's see, next auth URL. Yeah, there we go. So we have to provide the next auth URL. Okay, so the URL for our website in this case. So this is one that I know that we have to do. And the next auth URL here in this case is http://localhost 3000, and there is another one that is called next public API host, that is http localhost 3000. So there we go, and there is one important environment variable that we have to set up by using like next auth. That is the next auth secret. So this is the secret key, and we have to provide this. It's very, very important to provide this next auth secret. I will just generate a secret very quickly. I think I already had to do this kind of thing. I don't just like remember. I think I can use open. Yeah, I already had the comment here. So it's OpenSSL rand base64 create a 32 characters random character, and I can use this as a secret. And this is all in the next auth documentation, so you can find it later. And actually, I think I will even like, because this is the .sample file, I will just copy this and I will paste it here. And yeah, this is actually the secret that I don't want to make it here. So there we go, we have it here. We can even copy this here, we will paste it, and I will just grab my secret. Okay, and there we go. So we have things, yeah, we are going miles here. Okay, let's see if this is fine. Okay, then because we type in Prisma in it, then this means that we have a Prisma schema file. This means that I can just change my provider to MySQL. There we go. And I think, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think that's that. So let's see what we can do here. Basically, I want just to start with some basic modeling, and actually this is a cool thing about next auth. If you go to Prisma adapter, they already have something here for us, because they already handle us the authentication. So basically what they have here is they already have a done schema for handling the authentication for us through any kind of third-party provider through Auth. So we have here a user model. So user will have the name, the email, the verification of the email, image, and which accounts they have. So connected into this user. So we might have Google, GitHub, etc. And then we have sessions. So the logged in user session. So each session have like a session token, which user is connected. We have a expiration token, and there is like this relationship that this is how we define it with Prisma. So we define a relation with user ID. So this is the user ID that will be referencing the ID from the user model. And it will delete this session on Cascade. So this is the cool thing. So we have an account already here for us, and this is gonna hold out informations about the provider that we are gonna choose. For this project for now, I will just be gonna using a GitHub, but yeah. We'll just need here the ID, which kind of type of account this is, which is the provider, and the ID of the account that the provider is returning to us. The refresh and the access token, if there is some sort of expiration, the kind of scope. Yeah, there's even like a lot of things here that I don't know what it's used for, but I'm glad that Prisma brings that to me. So this is actually it. We just have to reference Prisma here, the session stuff, and we just have to provide this next auth route. So for the ones that are not super used to Next.js, this is a Next.js application, and it actually uses conventions for routing, and it will automatically mount out our React component. So this framework has a lot of conventions, and yeah, we will make use of them. So index.tsx, this is the main route. It will load the component that we saw before. This app.js, it will be the root of everything. And we have this special folder called API. So this API folder, this will be the folder where we are gonna put our functions here. So let's move this on. So let's see, we have to put here auth. So this means that we will make a request to /API/auth, and then this is a wildcard route. So everything inside of that we do /API/auth, everything that comes after that, it will be healed here. So this next auth route will handle everything for us. There we go. So what do we have here? So this is basically how next auth works, right? So we are specifying here that we have the Prisma adapter, so they will know how to properly connect with Prisma once we log in with our OAuth credentials. So it will automatically add the user to the database for us. It will automatically deal with the session. So this is why we have to provide an adapter here. And then we have our providers. In this case, this is Google provider, and we actually don't want Google, we want a GitHub provider. So I will just rename this GitHub provider. And GitHub provider, let's open up the documentation here. So GitHub provider is here. So we need a GitHub client ID and a GitHub client secret. And those are, yeah, environment variables. So let's just add our auth credentials here. So I will just put auth. So in our sample here, I will just add empty client ID and secret, but we will have to provide our own client ID and secret. I will configure here, but by the end of the stream, I will just invalidate the token, but let's do this together here. So you go to settings, you go to developer settings, I think is Auth apps. I have quite a few experiments here, and this application name here, it's gonna be feature. Let's go feature request app. The homepage URL is http://localhost 3000, and then the authorization callback URL. So when we request GitHub for authentication, where and after GitHub authenticate us, where does they where do they are gonna redirect to our application? Because after we click login with GitHub, this kind of button will be like in GitHub's domain, and they have to know where they should send the user back to our application. And I think here is, let's go here to the getting starter. This is where it is, API/auth/callback, and then /the provider. I think that's the one. So /API/auth/callback/GitHub. So this is a convention from NextAuth. So localhost 3000 API auth. Yeah, there we go. Let's register this application. Now we have our client ID. Again, I will remove this and we'll generate everything from scratch after this string. So yeah, after we click generate a new client secret, we have to provide our password. Okay, so let's just add here. And then finally we have the secret. All right, so if I provide my secret here, we are all good. Okay, let's continue here. After that, we need to provide this session provider here. This is just part of the configuration. So let's add this session provider here. Let's go here. So return the session provider. Let's just close session provider. There we go. And where do we get session? We get from page props here. Okay, so I think that's that maybe. So we have the session provider. Yeah, I don't even have to do this kind of thing. Can just get page props.session. This is also fine. I think that's actually that. Okay, for this part. Do we have? I think yeah, I forgot to close it here. Okay, so that's it. And yeah, I think we are mostly fine. Now let's just maybe copy the examples that we have here. So let's copy this thing here and let's go to our root page. I will just paste it. We will import use session, and then I will just move this inside of the page here. So let's try if we have session, and let's go and print out this. So if we have session, we are gonna do this. I think my theme is a bit hard to see. Maybe this. Oh, sorry about that. I think I'll just keep dark plus because I was having a hard time seeing. So I don't need this. And then if we don't have session, the user is not actually signed in. So let's just go here. And I just want to print out something here, right? So if we don't have session, then the user is not signed in. So I will just import sign out from NextAuth React, import sign in. And yeah, I will also do session and session dot user. I know that I could use optional chain, but yeah, let's keep it like that. So yeah, maybe this is enough for this part. Okay. I think that's that. Let's try to run our application and see how this goes. pnpm dev. I hope this works. So localhost 3000. Let's see our application here. So we are not signed in. Let's signing in. Oh yeah, obviously. Yeah, we actually didn't initialize Prisma. Sorry about that. So pnpx Prisma migrate, I think dev. Yeah. So bootstrap or maybe init, I don't know. So because we configure Prisma schema, we also have to migrate that schema to actually populate the database, populate the tables, based in the schema that we actually created. See that it actually generate a SQL file here in Prisma, migrations, the name of the migration that I created. So this is all the queries that we have to run to actually generate the table and everything that we can possibly need. And then we can even do pnpx Prisma generate. All right. So that's that. And Prisma generate, what it will do is it will actually generate for us all the type definitions. I just don't remember where exactly this is, but it generates for us all the typing that we can possibly need based in our schema definitions. I don't remember right now where it is, but yeah, we will probably see later. So let's maybe try to rerun the application, pnpm dev. Maybe now it will work. I hope. So let's just, refresh. Just let me come back to the root. Refresh, sign in. There is our button. Sign in with GitHub. It will request authorization. Then let's authorize my user. And yeah, sign in as Daniel Kurowski. So yeah, we have sign out functionalities. And this is the cool thing. So you can actually see, or you should see, I hope, or maybe I configured this wrong. There it is. We should see that in the database connection, or we should see, I think this is maybe broken because it's connecting successfully. But we can actually spin up, since we are using Prisma, we can do pnpx Prisma Studio. So we can run Prisma's own GUI to access database. So now we can see our user here. So the user is created in the database, in our local database. It has an account, it has a session. So yeah, we have everything that we can possibly need. At least for this beginning. All right, this sounds like a commit. I will commit out setup Prisma base or something like that, right? Okay, so this means that we are good with Prisma. So at least Prisma in its core, right? So regarding the authentication stuff. Okay, so I actually wanted to configure more things here. There's actually quite a few things that it will take some extra effort to configure. I have to properly configure and set up a React query. It also needs some sort of configuration here, and I also wanted to configure what's the name, Chakra, but I think maybe we are a bit out of time. So, well, I think I will actually stop here, everyone. I don't know if there's anyone actually listening to this kind of stream again, but I think that's a good start. I think I will maybe do another stream. I don't know if this week already, maybe in the weekend, or maybe in the beginning of next week. But maybe I will just finish up configuring, but I will have a new stream soon. I will be announcing that on Twitter And yeah, we can continue the configuration. Maybe I will do some quick stream in the weekend just to finish up this kind of configuration, because it's a lot of initial configuration. And again, I'm not following any like kind of super logical path here. I'm just like using what I already knew. But yeah, I really appreciate who actually follow along. Yeah, I will just push this code here. Oh yeah, and we can even like see that our application is actually deployed here. So we can visit, and it's here. So later on, we just have to set up the database URL in Planet Scale and set up all the tokens. But yeah, I will do that in the next stream. So yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you so much. I had a blast, and yeah, see you soon. See you maybe this weekend. Yeah. Bye bye.